Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another live here with me, Ed Cooper. It's brilliant to see you again. I can't believe that Wednesday has come around again so quickly, hasn't it? And the weather. Well, the weather out there this morning for me is a little bit rainy, and that has made me smile because that means that I don't have to go around and water the garden tonight. It's one less job. Really good. I hope you are having a fantastic May so far. We are live here this month talking about sales for the whole of May. So last session when we were on live last Wednesday, go back and have a look at the recording, but we were looking at your sales process. And over the last couple of months, we've gone in April through your target market and identifying your avatar, going out and doing some of the marketing strategies that really work and build your marketing database. And now we're getting into the sales. So actually knowing your sales process, figuring out what those steps are, the critical steps for you to get to getting more sales in your business. And now today we're on about sales techniques. Now, a lot of people that I speak to, it's the one thing that they don't like. Really don't like sales. There are some really natural people out there that are natural sellers, absolutely love it, dive into it with both feet, and are very successful at it. But actually the way of sales is very human to us. In fact, Daniel Pink, we're reading his book at the moment, To Sell is Human, talks about this in the book. He actually says, we are selling every single day. And someone told me that many, many years ago. And they said, I said, I really don't like sales. I said, you know what, when you get up, when you are training, when you are coaching, when you are talking to your partner, your friends, your kids, you're constantly selling, you're influencing to get them to do something that maybe you want to do for the benefit of maybe both of you at the end. You're getting for that win-win outcome. So today, we're looking at that. Actually, how can you improve your sales techniques so that you can get more sales, so that you can influence more people to attract them to you, to like you more, to share more of what you offer to other people and get more referrals into your business? Well, the first thing that I'm going to share with you, and the 10 of these today, so 10 tips to take down. So grab your pen, grab your paper and go through. And listen, as I go through these, if any questions come up, just let me know. If there's anything that you need to know about sales afterwards, just drop me a line. I'm more than happy to talk to you. I will say this, these are the 10 tips that I'm going to offer to you today. These are not the only 10 tips. There's loads and loads of ways of doing it. So many fantastic books out there about sales, sales psychology, and so on. If I'm going to do another session just on some of the resources that you can read on sales as well. So first thing to look at is building rapport, like actually spending the time to get to know someone and build a relationship and build rapport. Now, if you're in a B2B business, you're probably going to have to spend a little bit extra time doing that. So you might have a high ticket item or something that takes that little bit longer to for people to say yes. If you're in retail and people are just dropping in to your shop, buying and going, building rapport is still mega, mega important. And it starts with the concept of this: people like themselves. So when they look at you, psychologically, they could be looking in the mirror. And if they see in the opposite side of them, someone that they know, like, and trust, someone that warms to them, even at an unconscious level, then that's going to be really, really key for them to building rapport with you and you building rapport with them. So a smile, a match and a mirror of tonality, of words and language that are used, of body language as well. If you can match people's body language when you're talking to them unconsciously, it's telling them that this person is like me, and therefore they build a little bit more rapport. Now, I could do a whole live on this. I could do a whole day on building rapport, but those three things are things that I really want you to think about when you're building rapport. Are you matching and mirroring their body language? Are you matching and mirroring their tone, their speed? And are you matching and mirroring some of the language, some of the words that they're using? There's no point if them saying, oh, the weather's terrible today, that you say, well, actually, I think it's really nice. because that's just going to go against it. It's not to say that you don't have an opinion. It's to make sure that you validify or then make sure that their opinion is valid as well, and you're building relationships and rapport with them. So first thing, build rapport. Next thing, number 2, identify the challenges. Be curious about those challenges and really dig deep into it. Now, one of the principles of this is stopping this, asking questions and using these and just allowing to see what comes back the other way, and being really curious, like almost being a little bit dumb, right? So act dumb in terms of, well, what do you mean by that? And how does that affect you? And what would it mean for you to solve that problem? And if we solve that problem in the first 3 months, how would that affect your business, or how would that affect your life, and so on? So being really, really curious. And it's difficult sometimes to do that because let's say you're a hot tub sales business, right? So someone walks in and they say, well, what is it you're looking for in a hot tub? Well, I'm not really sure. So where would you put it? Well, I'm going to put it in the back garden. I don't know the type of hot tubs. I haven't really done a lot of research, but one thing is that we've got 4 people in the family. Okay, well, 4 people in the family. That's what you want is this one. Yeah. And then they just lean to, it's almost like in their head, it's like, I know what you want. But actually digging deeper and asking, be more curious. Well, will all 4 people be in at the same time? Will you have more people around? Will you throw parties? Do you want music when you're having the parties? Do you like lights? Have you got kids? Do they like lights? Because we've got one with LEDs over here. So being really curious and digging deep into that problem or challenge that they might have that you can solve for them will extract not only exactly what they're looking for, but also have a higher chance of you offering exactly what they need and them saying, you get me, absolutely yes, I'm going to buy that. So dig deep, be curious once you've identified those challenges. Here's the other thing, standing out. We talked about it last month in the marketing, we talked about it in the sales process as well, but within sales, if you are not standing out head and shoulders above your competitors, then the only comparison that your clients or your prospects, your customers have is with the person next door, right? That's it. Okay, so if you've got 2 people who sell fitted carpets, how are you going to stand out against your competitor? And if all you have is the same service, we turn up on time, we're on point with cost, and that's it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to the one that I like. That's the only thing I'm going to be able to compare. Or I might be able to squeeze one on price. If it's 20 quid cheaper, then I'm going to go to them. And now you're in a price war. But actually, if you can stand up head and shoulders above everyone else, then that will get you more sales. You've got to figure out what that means for you. So how, as a hairdresser, could you stand out above everyone else? How could you, as a fast food restaurant in the high street, stand up above everyone else? How could you, as a consultant, stand out above everyone else? You've got to do something different within your sales process, within your sales technique, so people go, this is different to the other person. There's value here, and I'm going to go for them, even though it's a little bit more expensive. Here's the next one. Telling stories, not telling lies, right? Not telling fibs, but telling stories. Knowing your case studies, figuring out the likely questions and challenges that will come up within your sales process and having a story for each one, practicing that story, bringing it to life, adding humor into it, adding some reality into that as well. So lots of different case studies that you might have. Let's say you're a process improvement expert. You might have case studies of where you've taken a business from one particular point to another. Maybe you've had a testimonial from them and you can share that with someone in a specific area that your client's looking for. And the other one is telling stories, is telling metaphors. You're actually having something that's like what you're trying to explain and getting it through on a metaphor. We are born to understand, in our brains, we're connected to stories. And storytelling is something that has been ingrained in us for generations, yet we don't necessarily stop and learn the art of telling a story. And when we do, we really enrich the conversation. We really engage the person. It builds more rapport with them. And once you're doing that, actually, there's a connection there, and they like you much more. So know, like, and trust. That means that they're more likely to buy from you. Linked to that, actually, linked to telling stories, is this one, is appealing to emotions, not just logic. It's really simple to take the logic from your service or your product and sell that to anyone who's in front of you. Our product does this, it does that, it does the other. Our service will deliver A, B, and C in this length of time. All very logical stuff. And we believe that the logic is where the sale is, and it's not. It's where the emotion is. We are emotional beings, and our brain structure is set up in that way. We have our brain stem, we've got what they call the reptilian brain, the amygdala over that, and then over that we've developed through evolution our logical frontal cortex. And what's happening to all the signals is it's going through the logic, so it's going through the emotion before it gets to the logic in its process. So as soon as you walk into a room, there's an emotional connection, unconsciously sometimes, for the other person to you. They will like you. They say, don't they, that you've got like 3 seconds to make an impact. So within those 3 seconds, that's where some of the emotions are starting from for the other people in the room. Hey, I kind of like this person. Now, okay, so there's logic attached to that. Do you know what? I didn't really like you when you walked in, but you turned me around. You've probably heard that phrase before, okay? So they're now matching or challenging themselves with the logic back into emotion. But when you're selling to someone, actually understanding this, being curious, digging deep, telling stories of people and the emotional impact your service or product had on them, and then appealing to their emotions through the conversation, then actually the sale is much more easily made. So let me go back to the hot tub example, right? So you walk in and you say, hey, do you know what? I want a hot tub for 4 people. It's going in my back garden, and the salesperson doesn't do a great job in digging deep, telling stories, and finding the emotion. They go, what you want is this one over here. It's a 4-seater. It's £2,999, and it will do exactly what you asked for. Like, that's real logical. But when you start asking the question, you go, hey, will you be holding parties with this? Will there be ever more than 4 people? Would you prefer maybe a 6-seater and invite the neighbours over? Or do your kids like music, and do they like lights? Because we've got this one with the music and the lights on as well. And then telling a story behind that, and even getting the family like into the tub, not with the water in, but actually sitting there, putting the music on, putting the lights on, and going, just imagine how cool this will feel when the kids get in this, and they're really enjoying the bubbles and the lights and so on and so forth, and that is starting to connect to the emotion. Imagine when you're sitting in here on a cold winter's evening with a glass of champagne, how cool that will feel, with the jealousy of the neighbours looking at you because you're nice and warm in your hot tub and they're in the cold. Like, these are emotions that people connect to, and they kind of go, yeah, do you know what? I could be there right now. This sounds really, really good. So building on the emotion and appealing to those emotions is where the majority of the sales are made. Remember, we are emotional beings. If you are going into sales and throwing 80% logic at people and a little bit of emotion, my tip to you is switch it round. 80% emotion, 20% logic, and really, really build that. Build it through your stories, build it through rapport building, build it through being curious and asking questions. Okay, let's move on. We are on, I think we're on number 6 here. We are on handling objections. So it surprises me when I talk to some business owners and I ask them, what type of objections do you get that they'll sit there and go, oh, well, do you know, I've not really thought of that before, but sometimes it's on price, sometimes it's because we can't do it in time, and they'll just be really thinking hard about it. And that tells me something. It tells me that that they perhaps haven't thought about objection handling, or even that they get objections. They haven't thought about how they could handle those objections, or what they should say in response to an objection. And maybe, as well as that, if they haven't done that, the chances are they haven't practiced those objections either, or handling those objections. So here's the thing for you to do. On a piece of paper, right at the top, objection handling. Then write a list of every single objection that you can think of that you get in your business. And then go and solve the objection to that through a script, through an approach, through a question, through a gift, through whatever it might be. And go and solve each one of those. There may be more than one way of solving a particular objection. That's okay. Figure out which one works best for you, or which one works best for a particular situation. As you go out there, if there is another objection that comes up, just get your book out, write the next one down, and go with that. Eventually, you will have pretty much 99% of all the objections that are thrown at you, and you will have a response to them. Now, here's the magic. If you go and practice those on a regular basis, once a week, once a month, with your team, with maybe on your own, in the mirror, whatever it might be, you will get better and better at objection handling. When it's thrown at you, you will act really calm and go, that's a really great question you asked there. Let me answer it for you this way. And you will have a response ready for that objection. Really, really key. As soon as an objection is thrown at you, a lot of the time it's very genuine. It's just an objection that you need to work on. It's not about getting them all of your clients over, or all your prospects over the line, but it is about answering their questions. Some prospects, and you've probably seen them as well, will throw objections at you for the sake of throwing objections at you. They may even throw objections at you to see how you'll handle it. Okay. They're playful prospects, right? So work with them and be prepared for those objections as they come through. Now, as you've done this, you've built the rapport, you've told some great stories, you've appealed to the emotions, you're handling the objections. And then a lot of people will go, well, look, I'll leave it with you and you tell me if you're ready. That's it. And then they'll walk away. Now, when they walk away, the person may even say to them, hey, do you know what? I'm really interested. I'm going to go away and think about that with my partner and come back to you. Yep, that's absolutely fine. Now, that might be the right thing to do. But here's the thing, is pushing for a decision. It's making sure that especially in B2B or high ticket items or anything like that, then actually making sure that you're taking every opportunity to push for a decision is really, really important. Why? Because as soon as they leave, there's a half-life of motivation on that person. So they'll go away and tomorrow it won't feel as compelling, it won't feel as good. And then the next day they'll be half again. And before you know it, in 10 days time, they're like, no, I'm not going to buy that. You ever heard of buyer's remorse? So I've worked with people before who maybe buy too much stuff. So I'll go to the shops, they'll buy stuff, and then they'll take 75% of it back because they get home and they go, I don't really need these jeans, this top, this t-shirt, whatever. Well, one of the techniques for them is to ask themselves, do I really need this product? Go away, think about it, and come back, because it pulls the emotion out, it drops the logic in. But when you're pushing for a decision, if it's the right thing for your client, for your prospect to take that, then ask for that sale. Ask for that sale. In fact, one of the sales that I made, when I asked for the sale, I got this response. I'm so pleased that you asked for the sale, because if you hadn't, we wouldn't have given it to you. We have worked with another consultant in the past, or coach that they worked with in the past, who didn't ask for the sale and we didn't give it to them. Now, isn't that interesting? So do ask for the sale and push for a decision. And if you can't get a decision, that's fine. But what you're looking to do is excuse me, moved on to the other one. I've got dangly fingers this morning. So what you're looking to do, in effect, is collect some no's. So there's a really great book by Brian Tracy called The Psychology of Selling. And I'm sure it's that book where he talks about collecting no's. We're always constantly going out to decisions and getting people to say yes. But actually, if you go out and push for the decision, the person says no, you get loads of time back that you don't have to waste chasing that particular lead. If it's a no, not yet, or maybe in the future, then you've got to keep in touch strategy that you can go back and put them into your sales funnel on. But if you don't push for the decision, you're going to constantly have to go back to that person for them to make a decision. And that can waste a lot of time. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to push for a decision and get one with every single client or every single prospect that's in front of you, but have the intention to do it and then build from there. Okay, we're getting to the end, right? We've only got 3 more, right? So 3 more. This one here is one of those 3. Know when to say no. It's likely, particularly if you're in services, maybe even in retail as well. So maybe you're selling, I don't know, kitchens, bathrooms, or maybe you're selling everyday items, clothing, for example, where people will ask for more than you are willing to offer. Knowing where your line is incredibly important. Knowing where you want to be flexible to is also as important. Actually knowing your numbers on what you're giving away and understanding the margin that you're giving away is also very important. Let me tell you it like this. If you're a business that nets 20% profit, so 20% profit out of a sale, so out of £100 sale, you make £20, right? And you sell that £100, they say, could I have 10% off, please? Yeah. Then you're only going to put £90 through the till. And guess what's going to happen to your profit? It's going to halve, right? So you're going to go from making a £20 profit to a £10 profit. So you've lost 50% of your profit. So be careful and know when to say no. Now, it doesn't have to be necessarily about the number and the profit, but it could be about the service, the speed, or the style, or the way in which you deliver or do something. But understanding what is in and what is out is the key point here. So get your pen and paper and write down those things. When will I say no to someone? And stand by that. And look, if that means that you lose the sale, that's great, because what's not going to happen is you're not going to do a load of work for no money. You're not going to have a load of stress to deliver something that you know you shouldn't really have said yes to. You're not going to feel resentful about the relationship maybe you have with that customer. That's a danger that can happen. And also, if you didn't do a necessarily good job for that person and you've actually said yes when you know you should have said no, then guess what happens? They don't have a great experience and they go and tell everybody else about it. Now, if they go away and say to people, well, I asked for this, this, and this, and they just said no, so I went to their competitor. Well, that's just what it is, but know what you stand for and make sure that you know when to say no. If you've not done this before, you can come to me, come and talk to me, and I'll work through with you, listing out your ABCD customers. You'll know when to say no when you have that list. Equally, you'll know and identify prospects that come into you that might fit into those ABCD categories, or you have a rough idea, and therefore you know when to say no. It's a great position, very strong position when you've built a business, when you can say no to someone and choose the people you work with or you want to work with. All right, here's the next one. Find opportunities to sell more. So one of the things that I do as a coach when I'm working with my clients is I sit down and I work through with them on something we call the 5 ways. That's lead generation, conversion, number of transactions on average, the average size of their basket, the average sale, and also margin. They're the 5 things that we work on. I mean, ask this question, go like, where would you start to build sales? Like if you could affect one of those, which is the cheapest and fastest one to do? Now, the answer to that is put your prices up. Okay, so you can put your prices up. You don't have to talk to anybody. You just do it. And actually, that's going to get you more profit. One of the things that comes back from a lot of the people I ask that question to is they go for lead generation. Lead generation is expensive. Okay? You've got to spend a lot of money on marketing to get leads through. How much does a lead cost you in your business? And if you don't know, maybe that's a question that you could find the answer to. Here's the thing. Once you've got a customer, they already know, like, and trust you, and you've delighted them in the service that you've delivered or the products that you've given to them. You've got their information. That means that you can more easily sell to them. So what else have you got in your products or services that you can go back to and sell to them? I've got a great technique for this. What we do is we just list all of the clients, we list all of the products, and we look at the matrix of what they've bought and what they could buy more from you. But knowing that particular client, knowing that particular customer of yours and what they might want. All right, so we've got a comment come in. I'm just going to put it up here from Chris. Good morning, Chris. I'm going to have to sort of sit over the thing. It's such a big comment, isn't it? Great tips. Set time limits is key. Yeah, really good tip. Yeah, set time limits to the sale, right? So if maybe there's a limitation on a particular sale on the table, which gets people and pushes people to it. Do what you say you're going to do, and if possible, over deliver. Yeah, you're taking the words out of my mouth. I think that one's coming up in a tip as well. Sales is an art. Practice, practice, practice. I love that. Practice with your team, with friends, go live with your clients, learn all about human psychology. 100%, Chris. I love that comment. Thank you very much for that. Like I said to you, these are some of the things that work in terms of sales tips that I'm sharing with you, but there's loads out there. Learn, learn, learn. It doesn't. I'll mention this in the book live that I'm going to be doing in a week or so. But it does surprise me of people who maybe could be better at sales. And I ask the question: when did you last read a sales book? When did you last watch a YouTube clip on being better at sales, or a TED talk on being better at sales? I go, oh, I haven't. Oh, isn't that interesting? So find out opportunities to sell more. And here's the other one. So once you've got sale, maintain the relationship with them so that it is easier to sell to those. There's a really good book by a guy called Paddy Lundy, Paddlundi, Paddy Lundy, called Critical Non-Essentials. There's something else before this. It's like the amazing art of critical non-essentials. So when he talks about critical non-essentials, it's exactly that. If you're maintaining a relationship with your clients, your client base, sending a card, sending a thank you, sending a birthday, Christmas gift, whatever it might be, if you're not maintaining the relationship with your existing database, your existing clients, then you probably are losing out on longevity of relationship and additional sales in the future. So look, this is not essential. You don't have to maintain the relationship with your customers, but it's absolutely critical if you want to have a longevity and continue to get more sales from them. So you'll keep in touch, you'll maintain a relationship strategy. What is it? And all I'm saying to you is pick 4 occasions in the year that you could maintain the relationship with your client. Know when their birthday is, send them a birthday card, send them a Christmas card, send them something at Easter maybe, and send them something else throughout the year when they've done a great piece of work, if you're a consultant or a coach like I am, or maybe it's a special deal. If you're in retail, keeping in touch is incredibly key. I still get posts through the letterbox by lots of different companies. The one that comes to mind is Charles Tuitt, the shirt company that send me stuff. And I go, I don't want a shirt. I don't want a shirt. I don't want a shirt. Oh, actually, I fancy a shirt. All right, so by them keeping in touch and sending me a deal or a £20 voucher or whatever it might be, it gets me interested in buying, and it keeps their brand within my purchase radar. Okay, so really, really key. Okay, we're going to wrap it up there, but just to run through these one more time so that you've got them on here. Make sure you're building rapport. Identify the challenges, be curious, dig deep, act on, ask loads of questions, stand out. If you're not standing head and shoulders above your competitors, then you're probably competing on price. Tell lots of stories and have those stories prepared and practiced. Like Chris said, Practice, practice, practice. Appeal to emotions, not just logic. We're emotional beings. Handle objections. Practice those handling of objections. Have them written, have them scripted. Train your team around them. Push for a decision. It's okay to get a no, and it's good to know when to say no as well. Find those opportunities to sell more to your client. Figure out what they're not buying, what they might need, what might help them, and go and help them. Go and solve more challenges for them, and maintain that relationship. So here's the thing: we've just run through and looking at just those top 10 tips, but there's loads more from there. Let's just have a quick look at some of the comments coming in. John, good morning, John. After following your advice, we are already starting to set up interviews, expanding the team, including new part-time admin person. Thank you. Thanks, John, for that comment. That's brilliant to hear that here live as well. Really appreciate that. And Chris, there's another final comment here. It actually costs more to find a new client even than it does to retain a current one. Absolutely. That's why I was saying in the 5 ways, if you're going for leads, it's the most expensive. Remember, roughly 80% of marketing doesn't work. So it's really expensive. Going to your clients and asking them, chances are, more than 20% will say yes. Okay, that's it for now. We are going to close today's session. Go back and look at the other lives if you want to know more about marketing, more about sales. And next week, we're going to continue throughout May on sales as well. If there's anything you want to know, let me know. I will start talking about those. And also, if you need any support, advice on anything to do with business, I'm here, Ed Cooper, Action Coach Hinckley. Get in touch via LinkedIn, via Facebook or YouTube, and one of the team will get a time in the diary with me. And the first half an hour is absolutely on me. Take care, everyone. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.